Hi there. It's Godsinger's morning study, and it is September 15th, 2025. We are studying the book of Hebrew, and this is yesterday. This is the 10th, just to catch us up. Okay. Okay, it was talking about you have need of endurance so that when you have done the will of God, you may receive what is promised. For yet in a little while, and the coming one will come and will not delay, but my righteous one shall live by faith. That's a key verse right there. A righteous one shall live by faith. If he shrinks back, my soul has no pleasure in him. But we are not of those that shrink back and are destroyed, but of those who have faith and preserve their souls. Right? So, this is chapter 11. Okay. Now, this is right here. What is faith defined, right? Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Okay. That's important. Okay. For by it, the people of old received their commendation. By faith, we understand that the universe was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible. Okay. Jesus talked about faith probably more than any other subject during his entire ministry. Okay. It was always because of faith somebody was healed, right? Your faith has sealed you, right? When the Roman centurion said, you don't have to come to my house. I know that just your word. I know, okay, that's faith. I know that by just your word, he will be healed. And Jesus said, I have not seen faith anywhere as great as the faith in this man. Okay? Faith is really important. Okay, it's the most important thing to have faith, right? Assurance of things hoped for, conviction of things not seen, right? By faith, we understand that the universe was created, okay? You believe God, through Jesus, spoke it into existence, okay? And you just know that. That's faith. You didn't see him do it. Nobody saw him do it, right? Angels were probably watching, and that was fun for them, right? Let's continue. By faith, Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice than Cain, through which he was commended as righteous, God commending him by accepting his gifts. And through his faith, though he died, he still speaks. By faith, Enoch was taken up so that he should not see death. And he was not found because God had taken him. Now, before he was taken, he was commended as having pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please him. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. By faith, Noah, being warned by God concerning events yet unseen, in reverent fear constructed the ark for the saving of his household. By this he commended the world and became the heir of the righteous. That comes by faith, right? By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to a place that he was to receive as an inheritance. And he went out, not knowing where he was going. By faith, he went to live in the land of promise, as in a foreign land, living in tents with Isaac and Jacob, heirs with him of the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city that has foundations, whose designer and builder is God. By faith, Sarah herself received power to conceive, even when she was past the age, since she considered him faithful who had promised. Therefore, from one man, and him as good as dead, were born descendants as many as the stars of heaven, and as many as the innumerable grains of sand by the seashore. These all died in faith, not having received the things promised, but having seen them and greeted them from afar, having acknowledged that they were strangers and exiles on the earth. Right? A lot of these people died never seeing the promises that God promised them, but they had faith and they knew it would happen, okay? Abraham didn't see all his heirs when God promised him that the whole earth would be populated. But he knew by faith that it would happen. For people who seek For people who speak thus make it clear that they are seeking a homeland. If they had been thinking of that from which they had gone out, they would have had opportunity to return. But as it is, they desire a better country, that is, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared for them a city. By faith, Abraham, when he was tested, offered up Isaac. And he who had received the promise was in the act of offering up his only son, of whom God had said, through Isaac shall your offspring be named. He considered that God was able even to raise him from the dead, from which, figuratively speaking, he did receive him back. By faith, Isaac invoked future blessings on Jacob and Esau. By faith, Jacob, when dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph, bowing in worship over the head of his staff. By faith, Joseph, at the end of his life, made mention of the exodus of the Israelites and gave directions concerning his bones. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden for 3 months by his parents because they saw that the child was beautiful and they were not afraid of the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He considered the reproach of Christ greater wealth than the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking to the reward. By faith he left Egypt, not being afraid of the anger of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and sprinkled the blood so that the destroyer of the firstborn might not touch them. Right? All those things. Moses and Pharaoh. By faith the people crossed the Red Sea as on dry land, but the Egyptians, when they attempted to do the same, were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down, for they had been encircled for 7 days. By faith Rahab the prostitute did not perish with those who were disobedient, because she had given friendly welcome to the spies. And what more shall I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, and David, and Samuel, and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, enforced justice, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions. Right? Quenched the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, were made strong out of weakness, became mighty in war, put foreign armies to flight. Women received back their dead by resurrection. Some were tortured, refusing to accept release, so that they might rise again to a better life. Others suffered mocking and flogging, and even chains and imprisonment. They were stoned. They were sawn in two. They were killed with the sword. They went about in skins of sheep and goats, destitute, afflicted, mistreated, of whom the world was not worthy, wandering about in deserts and mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. And all these, though commended through their faith, did not receive what was promised, since God had provided something better for us, that apart from us they should not be made perfect. Right? A lot of these people of old were doing everything by faith that things would be better for future generations. Okay? Do what I say, and someday I will build a city for you, right? For your offspring. And they believed that by faith and acted on it as faith. Okay? All those examples of faith. Cool, huh? There's some up here that caught my eye, which is, it's going around, right? If I can find it here. Let's see, Abel, right? There it is, Enoch. Okay. Nice verse right here. Whoever wrote Hebrews talks about Enoch, right? Enoch was taken up so that he should not see death. Enoch was Noah's father, okay? And he would have been alive to see Adam. Okay, very long time ago. Okay, there's the book of Enoch is floating around. It was taken out of the Bible. Is it real or not? I won't say. I don't know. Okay, but it was taken out of the Bible because I know there are parts of Enoch in the book of Enoch where somebody prays to Enoch and Enoch answers back their prayers and performs miracles for them from heaven. Okay. God said very clearly that you only pray to him and no one else. You do not pray to anybody else. So when somebody prayed to Enoch instead of God and Enoch answered their prayer and did stuff, that discounted Enoch from the canon, okay? Because that's not what the Bible teaches, okay? Somebody could have embellished it. Much of it may be true and much of it may be made up, but they didn't know, so they left it out, okay? And I leave it out, okay? I mean, I probably have in my library the book of Enoch somewhere, but there's too much in it that that is embellished and made up and goes against the laws of God. So, but I'm sure there's a history there, and Enoch did things, and God found Enoch faithful. Okay, and someday we'll find out. So there you go. That's chapter 11. Interesting stuff, all about faith. Okay, and examples of faith. Okay. And tomorrow, chapter 12, we'll find out Jesus, founder and perfecter of our faith. So cool. There you go. Have a good week. Maybe it'll be a better week than last week, right? Last week was one for the history books, that's for sure. All right, and a movement has been started all over the world that cannot be quelched. Okay. So, revival because of one person. Amazing, huh? So, till on that, stay tuned later today. We are going through the book of 2 Corinthians in our afternoon study through the New Testament in a year. It's like day 258. So give us a like if you think about it, and tomorrow we'll continue. See ya.